Thanks for joining today. It's almost 58 people. And probably some of them, they will join in a few minutes, right? So today, I'm really thrilled. I'm really, really happy. And I'd like to share with you why I'm so happy today, right? You know, I was, the Facebook account and the Facebook group is connected with my mobile. And I would say in every 10 minutes, I get notification that you have uploaded a video, right? And I watch it, and once I watch it, I say, wow. So after having the second class, you have started speaking, and you started speaking, and you spoke almost 3 to 5 minutes. And I'm really, really thrilled to see that. So how many of you have uploaded your video yesterday or today? So who has uploaded the first and second homework? Please type in the chat box, first and second. So if you have submitted only the first homework, please type in the chat box first. If you have submitted both, please type in the chat box first and second. I'd like to share with you my screen as well. I'd like to show you. I mean, if you haven't gone there yet, I think almost everyone is submitting their homework, right? So just I'd like to share with you. So if I go to Facebook group, you can see this is IELTS and study in the UK, Canada, okay? And it's just, if I just scroll down, just I can see just videos, right? It's live videos, lives, right? So thank you so much for submitting me homework. And it really makes me happy. And today I'd like to share with you two things. Number one, story, and number two is the 3 hacks to be a successful person in near future, right? Those are the two things I'd like to share with you. And on the top of that, we're gonna have our lesson today. So I think you have seen. I mean, I need probably 10 minutes to scroll it down to show you all of them. So thank you so much again for submitting your homework. So now I'd like to tell you a story, and the story is all about a person, probably you know him. So please type in the chat box if you know Jack Ma. Type in the chat box if you know Jack Ma. If you know, type in the chat box. And yes, if you don't know, there is nothing wrong. Say no, I don't know. Right? So, okay, a lot of students are saying no, I don't know. No, okay, that's fine. That's fine. So he's the founder of Alibaba, right? Yeah, someone said he's the founder of Alibaba. So one day, a journalist asked him, so can you please share with us what would be your comment on business, right? So basically, journalists wanted to know a lot of things regarding the business, because he is a business magnate. He's a billionaire. He lives in China. And he said something is very interesting and is gonna resonate with your life as well, and is gonna relate with the class as well, right? So Jack Ma's যে গল্প সেটা আপনার লাইফের সাথে রিলেট হবে, আপনার এক্সপেরিয়েন্স এবং এই ক্লাসের সাথেও রিলেটেড, right? That's why I'm sharing this story. So then Jack Ma said something very interesting. He said, you know, most of the business, they fail in first year. And 95% business fail in 5 years. And only 5% business, they are existed. And only 1% business, they dominate the world. Right? So did you see the whole stat? So he said, I mean, 80% business, they fail in first year. 95% is business, they fail in 5 years. And 5% business only, you know, they become existed. And only 1% business, they dominate the whole world. And then he said something that's so powerful. He said, you know, most of the business owners, they open their shop, they open their business, and they wait for the customer. First day, they open their business, they launch their business, and they wait for the customer. They don't get any customer. The second day, they open it, and they wait for the customer, they don't get any customer. And on the third day, 2.5 days, they shut down their shop, they shut down their business, and they leave their business. And interesting thing is, in the evening on third day, customers come to the shop to buy something and they see there is no shop at all. So this is happening around the world, right? So you can see a lot of students are here, right? So in the first class, you have seen a lot of students join us, right? They attended the class, they enjoyed the class with us, and they thought probably, okay, I'm gonna learn English at the end of this class, right? Second day they came and they enjoyed the class, probably they didn't do the homework and all that stuff. And still they expect probably they're gonna learn English. And the third day, probably half of the day, probably they're gonna leave, right? And only 5% people, probably they'll be existed in this classroom. They will do the homework, they will practice with me. And at the end of the day, I mean, 10 days speaking challenge, you will see they will become fluent. So that's the whole statistics. Do you understand? If you understand, please type in the chat box, understood. Okay, let me explain it into Bengali. So Jack Ma বলেছিলেন যে so প্রথম দিন business open করে, then wait for the customer, and second day again customer জন্য wait করে, and third day half of the day they shut down their shop, shut down their business, and they leave. And the last thing is customers come back at the evening, right? So বিকেলবেলা customer এসে দেখে সেই জায়গায় কোনো business নেই, দোকান নেই. So this is what happening in the world. So same way I would say, congratulations. So this is the third day and still you're here. You haven't shut down your business yet, right? So congratulations. You are doing very well. And I'm really over the moon. I'm really thrilled to see your performance. You are doing very well, very well. So the second story, who would like to know how to become a successful person in the world? Type in the chat box. If you'd like to be a successful person in the world, please type in the chat box. Me, I'd like to see how many of you'd like to become a successful person in the world, right? So I'm going to share with you 3 tricks, 3 hacks that's going to change your life, right? So step 1, step 2, and step 3. So how many hacks I'm going to share with you right now? Please type in the chat box. How many hacks I want to share with you right now? Only 3 hacks, right? So if you follow this, you will see the change in your life dramatically, right? যদি আপনি এই 3টা জিনিস ফলো করেন, আপনি দেখবেন আপনার লাইফের চেঞ্জ. So number 1 is run. Type in the chat box, run. Number 1 is run. So what I mean by run is you got to run at least 30 minutes a day. You got to pump your blood, right? So that's the first thing you got to do. And I'm the person, I always try to preach what I practice, right? আমি যেটা প্র্যাকটিস করি সেটাই শেখাতে ট্রাই করি. So I myself run as well, right? So the first thing is run. And if you run, you pump the blood, and that's gonna activate your brain, and that's gonna give order to take massive actions. And once you take massive actions, you get result and you become successful. The first one is run. Every day, every single day, you got to run. You got to sweat yourself, right? So can you please type in the chat box? What does the word mean, sweat? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see if you know the meaning. So all you got to do is you got to run and you got to sweat yourself. That's the first thing you got to do, right? Step number 1. Step number 2 is identify who you want to become. Second step is identify who you want to become. Second step হলো আপনাকে আইডেন্টিফাই করতে হবে আপনি কি হতে চান লাইফে, right? So second one is identify who you want to become. Type in the chat box. Identify the person who I want to become. Type in the chat box. It's very, very powerful lesson. And if you understand it, probably you don't have to think back. You are done. Right? So identify yourself, who you want to become. Right? So some of them you would like to be an engineer, some of them would like to be a doctor, some of them would like to be a banker, some of them would like to be settled in the UK, US, and Canada. Right? So type in the chat box who you want to become. Okay, someone said police, singer. Okay, excellent. Thank you. So type in the chat box who would like to become. Apni life e ki hote chan? Type in the chat box. Scientist, singer, businessman. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. And third step is find the person and model him or her. Third step. Type in the chat box. Find the person and model him or her. So find the person and model him or her. For example, so you are thinking to become a software engineer, right? So you know who is the best person in this industry. Probably you got to read a lot about Bill Gates, right? And so once you read him, he said everything, how he became successful. All you got to do is you need to follow him and you need to take action. And you need to take his advice, and this is how you're gonna do. So someone said car showroom owner. Okay, excellent. So find the person who has got the best car showroom in the world, right? Try to find him and just model him. Just model him, right? Just model him. So find the person and model him. And now I'd like to share it with you. So you know me now personally, right? So I was born and brought up in a lower middle class family. My father was a high school teacher. My mom was a primary school teacher. In my 14th generation, there is none, I mean, who got the business, right? So just think about this. So when I started doing the business, what I found, a lot of struggles, challenges, problems, right? And what I did, the same thing I did. So I got a mentor. Please type in the chat box if you know the meaning of mentor. Is very powerful lesson as well. Please type in the chat box if you know the meaning of mentor. What's the meaning of mentor? Type in the chat box. Mentor and মানে কি? Mentor. What do you mean by mentor? Yeah, that's right. So mentor, you can say mentor is a teacher, right? So who teaches you something is very special, right? So when I started, struggling in my business, the first thing what I did, I started running. Because when you get a lot of stress, anxiety, you become so lazy, lethargic, right? You don't like to do anything. So the first thing you got to do is you need to pump your blood. So I started running. And then the second thing I did is I identified myself who I want to become, right? And this is the mission of our organization, is to build an university in the long run. So আমাদের এই organization has self-free education. এটা long-term mission, vision, whatever you say. এটা হলো একটা ইউনিভার্সিটি আমরা প্রতিষ্ঠা করব in the UK. That's our long-term mission, right? So the second step was to identify someone who is that person. Guess what? I started searching who is the founder of a university or college, or who would like to become the founder of university, right? And I found someone whose name is Dr. Silva. So right now, he has got a college and he has got 5 campuses in London. and he has got partnership with many universities. So now the second step I have done, I identified himself, and yeah, I went to him, right? And if you find out someone is very successful, is it easy or is it difficult to see him, meet him? Type in the chat box. যদি আপনার লাইফে কোনো সাকসেসফুল, very very successful পারসনের সাথে দেখা করতে চান, is it easy or is it difficult? Yeah, that's right, it's difficult because they schedule every single minute. They schedule every single minute. If I ask you, so how is your day? You say it was busy. And if I ask you, what have you done? You said, okay, I picked up the phone and I went to Facebook, and I don't know how it's gone, like 3-4 hours, right? So this is the thing. Sometimes it's happened to my life as well. So all you got to do is you got to schedule yourself. So once you schedule yourself, that means you are one time to finish something. So always schedule yourself. So I have got so many complaints. So this is a sweet complaint as well. So a lot of students, they say, I don't have I don't have time to submit my homework. So that means that's not true. You didn't schedule yourself. So you got to schedule yourself that, okay, I'm going to practice probably 1 hour, and this is 2 to 3 o'clock, or 5 to 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 to 8 o'clock. You need to schedule yourself fast. And once the time comes, you jump in and you start doing that, right? Okay, so going back to the story. So Dr. Silva, then I started to find the opportunity to see him. And finally, what happened is I was chasing him with his PS, with one of his administrator, one of the teachers in his college, but he didn't say yes, right? And this is another lesson: is never take a no. Never ever take a no, right? So once you get a no, that means, okay, that means I got to try again, probably in different ways, in different approach. That's the thing, right? So, and one day I found that he's gonna launch his book. He's an author, right? Sheikh Lekoko, and he's gonna launch a book. So what do you think? What I did? Type in the chat box. So once I found that Dr. Silva is gonna launch his book, and a lot of, special guests will be there. And once I knew this information, what I did? Type in the chat box. Yeah. So I bought his book in advance and I went to that session, the launching book ceremony. I went and I attended there, right? And he was giving a speech and sharing a lot of things from his book. And what I did, so once I went to see him, I took one of my book, right? Probably you can't see it. It's called The Entrepreneur's Cry and Smile. So I wrote this book, right? So I just got this book inside my bag, and when he was, shaking his hand and introducing himself, and he was asking a lot of things, and just I grabbed my book and I handed to him. I said, sir, I'm really, really fan of you, and I would like to become such a person like you. I did my research and I found that I'd like to become someone like you. So would you become my mentor? What the question I asked him? Would you like to become my mentor? Type in the chat box. What the question I asked him? So I handed my book and I said, would you like to become my mentor? Right? So just think about this. Probably 100 and 150 people in the big gallery in his college auditorium. And he was shaking his hand and he was introducing himself to each and everyone. And all of a sudden, once I got the opportunity, I handed my book and I said, please be my mentor. And he was over the moon as well. And what do you think? What he said? Yes or no? Type in the chat box. What he said. What he said. What he said. Okay, so a lot of people say yes, yes, yes. So in the first attempt, he said, sorry, Habib, I do apologize. I don't have that much time to mentor you. That's what he said. He said, sorry, Habib, I do apologize. I don't have that much time to mentor you, right? And what do you think? Did I accept his answer? No. Of course not. Of course not, right? So basically, he was trying to find out my seriousness. Am I serious? That's the thing he wanted to, because these people, they are very successful in their life. They schedule their time, right? They don't have that much time to give someone else. So if they always say no, probably they say, 7, 8 no's, and they say probably 2 to 3 yes. That's why they allow themselves to do a lot of things in their life. And then I didn't accept the word no. So, however, I found his personal phone number, and I didn't disturb him on the phone. I started sending him messages once in a week on WhatsApp. I said, hi, Dr. Silva. Hope you're well. This is Habib. And I attended on a few, launching book party. That was awesome. I read your book, and I love these things. And I would like to learn it practically from you. So is it okay to allow me as a mentee? So type in the chat box if you know the meaning of mentee, right? Mentee meaning key. Type in the chat box, please. Mentee meaning key. So what's the meaning of mentee? So mentor, who is a teacher, and mentee means who is a student, right? Yeah. So mentee means student, right? So I said, can you please allow me to be your mentee? Just think about this. So I started sending him messages every week, and all of a sudden he said, he didn't reply. I saw sometimes he's seen this message. If you send someone else the message on WhatsApp, and if someone read it, you can see it's read or seen. Sometimes he has seen it, sometimes he didn't. And all of a sudden I got a message. I'll call you in the evening. He didn't give me any time. I will give you a call in the evening. And I said, wow, I think he's going to say yes right now, right? So then he gave me a call and he said, come to my office next day, 10 o'clock. And what do you think? If you'd like to attend some sort of this kind of appointment, would you like to go there on time, in time, or earlier? Type in the chat box. আপনার কাছে যখন এইরকম খুবই ইম্পর্টেন্ট অ্যাপয়েন্টমেন্ট থাকে, আপনি কখন যাবেন? সঠিক সময়, কিছু সময় আগে, অনেক সময় আগে, earlier. So in time, on time, or earlier. Yeah, that's right. So I went there around 9 o'clock. 1 hour ago. And this is the thing. What happened? If you become so serious, because I don't like to miss this opportunity to see him. I was chasing him like 3-4 months, and I started researching about him. I started reading about him, and he became, he received a lot of rewards as well in the UK. So I don't like to lose this opportunity. Some things might happen, like stuck in a traffic, stuck in a train, and all that stuff. So I don't like to give any sort of shitty excuses. So I went there 1 hour earlier, right? And so I had a cup of tea, sat in the tea stall, and I started writing what sort of questions I'm going to ask. Right? So this is very important lesson as well. So all you got today is, once you find your mentor, you need to ask quality questions. Ask questions, right? So type in the chat box if you follow me, asking questions. So first step, you got to run. Second step, identify who want to become. And third step is model him, follow him, right? So how are we going to model him, follow him? This is how. So you got to see him, meet him, and ask permission to teach you. And they will say yes. Probably in the first step, they will say no. Second step, no. Third step, no. In the long run, they'll say yes, because they know you are adamant. You are chasing him, right? Continuously. So eventually they will say yes. So the last thing is, once you find him, you need to ask quality questions. Ask him questions. So what do you think? What question I ask him? Type in the chat box if you can guess what questions I have asked him. Yeah, so you shouldn't be shy. I asked him, how did you become such a successful person in your life? That's the first question I asked him. How did you become so much successful person in your life? That's the first question I asked him. And you know what he shared? He said, I'm an immigrant. I'm from Sri Lanka. I came to this country with 20-pound notes. That was his capital, 20 pounds note. And now he's worth of more than 200 million pounds. Can you believe it? So he escaped from Sri Lanka because there are some sort of civil war in the Sri Lanka. So he came to the UK as a refugee with 20 pounds note. And in over like 18-20 years, he made over 200 million pounds. Okay. So now probably you might be asking, did I get this mentorship for free? Because the reason I'm saying this, there are a lot of psychology behind it. You need to understand it. So do you think the mentorship I got from him is free? Type in the chat box, was it free or paid? If you think if it's free, type in the chat box free. If it is paid, type in the chat box paid. Okay, a lot of people are saying free, paid, free. Okay, excellent, thank you. Thanks for sharing. So this is one thing I also learned from him. So if you'd like to give mentorship, someone got to be committed. Type in the chat box. The word is committed. Type in the chat box, please. Committed. So I didn't know this. So if you'd like to get mentorship program, you got to be committed. So I know he charges 100 grand for a year in a mastermind program. 100,000 pounds in mastermind program, right? And he has got a whole team, and they teach everything, whatever you need to do in the business. But I didn't have that much money in that time, right? I told him in advance that I respect you, I respect your time as well, and I don't have that much money. I'm talking about like 4 or 5 years ago. All I can do is I can show my promise, I can show my commitment, just sending you 10 grand. And also I have said a lot of things. I came to this country as an international student, and that time, so like 6,000 pounds in debt. And I started building a student consultancy firm, and I'd like to learn from you. But unfortunately, I don't have that much money to pay you, whatever you charge. However, I would like to show my respect, sending you 10 grand. And he said, okay, that's not a problem. I'm going to give you the mentorship for 6 months. So I paid him 10,000 pounds for 6 months. That's what I did, right? And guess what? So if you paid so much money, you become committed, right? Type in the chat box. Once you send like 10 grand from your bank to someone else's bank, you become committed, right? So there are a lot of students here, right? So I think probably 200 students, they jumped into the class, but they are not committed because they didn't pay even a single penny. And that's not the only thing. So that's what I learned from him as well. So if you'd like to be a successful person in your life, you got to pay the price. You have to pay the price. If you don't pay the price, you don't value it, right? So here, paying doesn't mean only money. That means your time as well, your work, effort as well. So then I started following him. I started executing whatever he said. If you said, Habib, stand up here for 10 minutes, I stood there. If you said, Habib, you got to do this, what do you think? I did exactly the same thing because I paid a lot of money and I know he's the person whom I want to become and he's teaching me. So I'm learning a lot of things and I'm executing it. And this is how I'm getting my business bigger and bigger and bigger. So the reason I have shared with you is, so if you'd like to be a software developer, find out who is the best software developer in the world, right? Once you found him, ask for help. It might be mentorship, it might be counseling, it might be a session. So if you'd like to become a what is called an engineer, so find out who is the best engineer in the world, follow him, take his advice. So if you'd like to be a policeman, find out who is the famous, renowned police officer in Bangladesh or in the world. So follow him, advise him. And if you'd like to settle in the UK, US, or Canada, and if you'd like to start your own business and make millions of pounds, follow him, right? So that's the only thing you got to do. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Right? So you're on the right place and nobody will teach you this stuff. Is very powerful. And I don't like to teach you here. I know if I can influence you and once you make the decision that I'm going to learn English, you're going to learn it anyway. But my responsibility is to help you to make the decision. So who made the decision? I'm going to learn English, whatever it takes. Type in the chat box, me. How many of you have really made the decision that I'm going to learn English, whatever it takes? Type in the chat box, me. I'd like to see. So, yeah. So that means you are committed. So you paid some sort of money to different phone companies to join here through internet. So already you paid the price and you committed. You jumped into the class on time. So you are paying the price with your time. And you started, doing a lot of practice. So you are putting your effort as well. So you are committed 100%, right? That's what I believe. The way I was committed to Dr. Silva for 6 months. And I think the 10-day challenge. So you are committed to 10 days. So can you please type in the chat box? What's the percentage you are committed? Are you committed 20%, 10%, 100%? I'd like to see. I'd like to see what's the percentage that you made your commitment? Which level you made your commitment? Okay, a lot of people are saying 100%. Okay, someone said 90%. I'm not sure what happened to 2%. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Right, so now we're going to jump into the class. And before starting the class, I'd like to give you some sort of announcement. So I have booked one of our IELTS teacher. His name is Arifin. So he got fully funded a scholarship from Teesside University. It's around, like, I'm not sure, probably 14,000 pounds. He got a scholarship, fully funded, right? And his IELTS score is 8. He's from Bangladesh as well. So he will take one of your classes. Who is excited? Type in the chat box, excited. He's going to share with you how you can land a fully funded scholarship. কিভাবে আপনি fully funded scholarship পেতে পারেন? He's going to share with you. Type in the chat box who is excited. Okay. So last night I had a conversation with him and I said, we have got around 100 students who are really committed and you got to help them. So you need to share with them how did you get the fully funded scholarship and how did you get 8 in IELTS, right? So who do you think 8 is a very good score in IELTS exam? Type in the chat box. Who do you think 8 in IELTS is a very good score in IELTS exam? Okay, yeah, that's right. And he'll share with you everything. I don't like to take a lot of time saying that because he's going to share it with you directly. And I know you are excited as well. So today's lesson is all about how to ask questions all day long. How to ask questions all day long, right? So that's the lesson we're going to learn. So
The first question I'm going to ask you, what do you mean by language? Type in the chat box. What do you mean by language? Type in the chat box. What do you mean by language? Type in the chat box, please. Right, so I'd like to share with you my screen. Type in the chat box. What do you mean by language? Language or মানে কি? Type in the chat box, please, very quickly. What do you mean by language? Okay, I'm trying to find out my slide, and then I'll read out some of your comments. And I would like to really know, what do you mean by language? Language or মানে কি? Type in the chat box very quickly. What do you mean by language? If you don't know how to explain it in English, write in own language. যদি আপনি জানেন না কিভাবে এটাকে এক্সপ্লেইন করতে হয়, আপনার বাংলায়, হিন্দিতে, ইংলিশে লিখতে পারেন, right? So whatever. Okay. Okay, so the way of expressing myself, okay, express of emotion, okay, excellent. Type in the chat box, what do you mean by language? Expressing feelings or thoughts, okay, excellent, thanks for sharing. So what do you mean by language? Okay, so thank you, you're right. To me, language is nothing but asking and answering. Type in the chat box, asking and answering. So if you know how to ask and answer, you know the language. Asking and answering, very plain English. Language is nothing but asking and answering. So if you know how to ask a question, and if you know how to answer, that means you know the language, right? So type in the chat box, asking and answering. Asking and answering. So if you know how to ask and answer, that means you know the language, right? So you can see, this is the thing, just you need to understand. So language is asking and answering. So once you ask a question, once you listen, once you understand, when you answer them, that means communication, right? So language means asking and answering, right? So okay, before going to this lesson, I'd like to ask you, so how many of you have given a presentation, and after finishing your presentation, you found that you can speak English 80% or whatever you want to speak? Type in the chat box, that was me, right? Type in the chat box. So after finishing your presentation, last presentation, what do you do every day? You found that you can speak English 80% whatever you want to speak. Type in the chat box, that was you, right? So গতকালকে প্রেজেন্টেশনের শেষে আপনি বুঝতে পেরেছেন যে আপনি যত কথাবার্তা বলতে চান তার 80% আপনি অলরেডি বলতে পারেন, right? So after finishing second class, please type in the chat box if you feel that, okay, I can speak English 80% whatever I want to speak, right? Type in the chat box. So a lot of students are saying yes, yes, yes. Okay, thank you, thank you. So now that means I delivered whatever I promised to you, right? Okay, so now we're gonna go to the lesson. So how to ask a question, how to ask, right? So okay, so this is the sentence, right? I teach English, you learn English. So this is the simple sentence. And now if you'd like to make ask a question, we call it interrogative sentence. So the interrogative sentence should be, do I teach or do you learn? That's the thing, right? So this is very simple thing. I teach English. So subject plus verb, structure 1, you learn English, subject plus verb. Now, if you see the second table, it's a bit different, right? Do, I'm not sure where the do is coming from. It's confusing. Do kotheke asche, kiভাবে asche, we don't know. And some of you probably you know. So today we'll make sure that we know it exactly. What does it mean? Right? So now, do means what? Type in the chat box, please. Do মানে কি? Type in the chat box. Do means what? Type in the chat box, please. Okay, so a lot of people are saying do means kora, an action. Okay, thank you. Thanks for responding. Yeah, that's right. But when you'd like to make interrogative sentence, do doesn't have any meaning. Right? যখন আমরা interrogative sentence এ do কে use করব তখন এর কোনো অর্থ নেই. So if you'd like to make interrogative sentence, you got to take a do. আপনি যদি interrogative sentence তৈরি করতে চান তাহলে আপনার do verb লাগবে. আর interrogative sentence এর মাঝে এর do এর কোনো meaning হয় না. So the thing I try to mean is do means করা, but in interrogative sentence you need it and it doesn't have any meaning at all in the sentence. That's the easiest thing, right? So can you please type in the chat box in your language, do means kora. We need it in interrogative sentences and it doesn't have any meaning. The three things you need to understand. Do means kora. Do means kora. We need it for interrogative and negative sentences. Do আমাদের দরকার interrogative এবং negative sentence তৈরি করার জন্য. And in those sentences, I mean interrogative and negative sentences, it doesn't have any meaning. So interrogative অথবা negative sentence এ do এর কোনো meaning নেই. শুধুমাত্র interrogative sentence তৈরি করার জন্য আমরা do use করব, right? So three things you need to understand. Do means করা. We need it for interrogative and negative sentences and it doesn't have any meaning. Three things you need to understand. So if you'd like to ask questions, you need to understand three things. যদি আপনি interrogative sentence তৈরি করতে চান, lot of question ask করতে চান, you need to understand these three things. Do মানে হলো করা. So interrogative এবং negative sentence তৈরি করার জন্য আমরা do ব্যবহার করি। আর interrogative এবং negative sentence এ do এর কোনো মানে নেই, কোনো অর্থ হয় না। So if you are really clear, so type in the chat box clear. I'd like to see how many of you are clear regarding this. Type in the chat box clear. Okay. So yeah, that's what I said. Do usually means to take an action. So we use do for interrogative and negative sentences. And it doesn't have any meaning at all. Right. So now this is the structure. So all you got to do is you need to put a do. Interrogative sentence তৈরি করার জন্য যেটা করতে হবে একটা extra do use করতে হবে. Why should you put do? Before subject. So subject এর আগে আমাদের একটা do use করতে হবে. So can you remember the main structure was subject plus verb. Subject plus verb, right? And now to make interrogative sentence we need to use do. So can you please type in the chat box do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. So can you remember I said we're going to follow only one structure. So the structure is subject plus verb. Now we are adding extra do before the subject. So do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Yeah, that's the structure you got to know. So this is the I would say very basic structure to ask a question. Do plus subject plus verb plus question mark, right? Do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for responding. I'd like to see everyone's comment. Do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Right. So now, if I make a lot of sentence, I'm going to make like this. Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Right. Stop there. I repeat. Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? So have you noticed? I just put a sort of a stress when I was asking a question. Do I? Do you? Do they? সো যখন আপনি ইন্টারোগেটিভ সেন্টেন্স তৈরি করবেন, কাউকে কোনো কিছু কোশ্চেন করবেন, এটা শুনতে যেন লাগে যে আপনি একটা কোশ্চেন করতেছেন। Sometimes, we make a question and nobody understand, nobody answers it because they don't find it as a question. So all you got to do is you need to put a little bit of a stress. Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? And now, can you remember? He speaks, she speaks, it speaks, Tony speaks. So এই ক্ষেত্রে he, she, it, Tony যখন আসবে তখন doর পরিবর্তে আমরা ইউজ করব does. Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak? Right. So now I'll try my best to deliver all the sentences in one breath. Then I'm going to give you the opportunity to practice with me. Are you ready? If you are ready, please type in the chat box ready. Type in the chat box ready. I'd like to see how many of you are really ready. So this is how we're going to make a lot of sentences. Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak? Okay, excellent. So what I'm going to do, I will invite all of you to give me all the sentences. যেটা আপনাদেরকে করতে হবে, আমাকে 10টা সেন্টেন্স দিতে হবে within one breath, right? So let's try. Please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak?
Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak?
Thank you. Thank you. So one more time, we're going to practice it. But if you find it difficulties, please practice it many times at home. যদি আপনি কোশ্চেন করতে ডিফিকাল্টি ফেস করেন, সো অনেকবার প্র্যাকটিস করবেন বাসায়। So this is how you need to practice. Just follow the structure. Do I speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak? Right. So we're gonna try it one more time and make sure you put a stress. আপনি একটু জোর দেন যখন আপনি কোশ্চেন করেন। Do you speak? Right. So again, unmute yourself and give it a try. So when I say go, you need to give me all the sentences. So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
Do I speak? Do you speak?
Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Does he speak? Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for responding. So I need someone else to help me. So MD Altaf Hussain Sani, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Awesome.
Do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak?
Excellent. Thank you. Please type in the chat box. Thanks. Thanks, Altaf. Please type in the chat box. Now I need another volunteer. So Lamia Mirda, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences?
Yes, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Okay.
Do I speak? Do we speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak?
Thank you, Lamia. So can you please try one more time? This time your challenge is you got to give me all the sentences using one breath.
Okay, sir. I will try my best. Do I speak? Sorry, sir. Do I speak? Do we speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does he speak? Does she speak? It speak? Does Tony speak?
Okay, thank you. I need another volunteer. So please mute yourself. So Hasib Hassan, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences?
Thank you, sir, giving me. Thank you, sir, giving me the chance. Do I speak? Do we speak? Do you speak? Do you speak? Do they speak? Does she speak? Does she speak? Does it speak? Does Tony speak?
Excellent, excellent. So please type in the chat box. Thanks, Hasib. Okay, so still see. So we know it, but it doesn't come from our mouth, right? So speaking is just keep speaking, keep going, right? So that's why we're gonna try one more time. So please unmute yourself, and this time be honest with you and give me all the sentences. So unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
Do I speak? Do you
Speak.
speak?
Do you speak? Do you speak? Does he speak? Does he speak? Does it speak?
Do I speak?
you speak? Do they speak?
Thank you.
Do he?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So, can you please type in the chat box if you still can remember the structure for asking questions? Type in the chat box. Question করার জন্য আপনার স্ট্রাকচারটা কি? Type in the chat box, please. Interrogative sentence তৈরি করার জন্য thank you Bajit. Do plus subject plus verb. Yeah, do plus subject plus verb. Okay. So interesting thing is when I learned English, I didn't know why they didn't teach me in such a way. It's very simple, very easy to understand, and very easy to practice as well, right? So do plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Always put a question mark, right? So this is how you got to practice. Now, I'd like to ask you some questions. So just to check if you understand. So type in the chat box. Give me the answer. Give me the answer. Do you learn English? Do you learn English? Type in the chat box your answer. So the smart way to answer it, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, comma, I do. Right? That should be the answer. So do you learn English? Yes, I do. So do you come to the class on time? Type in the chat box. Yes, I do. Do you practice English? Type in the chat box. Yes, I do. Do you practice Chinese? Type in the chat box. Do you practice Chinese? No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. Right. So, do you drink water? Type in the chat box. Do you drink water? Answer should be yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do you drink alcohol? What's your answer? Do you drink alcohol? No, I don't. No, I don't. Okay. Do you like chicken? Or do you eat chicken? Type in the chat box. Answer should be yes, I do. Do you eat pork? Pork means sure, right? So what should be the answer? Do you eat pork? No, I don't. No, I don't. Do you answer my questions? Type in the chat box. Do you answer my questions? Yes, I do. Do you see me? Type in the chat box. Do you see me virtually? Do you see me virtually? Yeah, answer is yes, I do. Do you see me in person? Type in the chat box. Do you see me in person? In person means sorashuri. No, I don't. Okay, that means you know how to answer it, right? So you know how to answer it. I'm glad that you did all the answers right? So all you got to do is you need to do this. So now we're gonna, so this is the thing. This is how you practice. The question is, do you learn English? Yes, I do. Do you learn Chinese? No, I don't. So, okay, I'm gonna ask you these questions because this is very, very important and this is fundamental as well, right? If you have got something wrong in your foundation, the building shouldn't be that much strong. Do you understand me? আপনার ফাউন্ডেশনে যদি গন্ডগোল থাকে তাহলে আপনি বড় বিল্ডিং তৈরি করতে পারবেন না। So make sure that your foundation is very strong. You understand the whole thing, right? So did you understand what I just explained to you, I mean, a minute ago? Type in the chat box. So I said, did you understand? So did means past form. So your answer should be yes, I did. So did you understand the whole thing, what I just explained to you? Type in the chat box. The answer should be, yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you for responding. You are awesome. Okay, so this is how you need to practice. So now I'm going to ask you a question very quickly, right? Question is, who is your favorite person in your family? Who is the favorite person in your family? Type in the chat box. Who is the favorite person in your family? Mother, father, sister, mother and father. Okay, so this is very important thing. I ask you, who is the favorite person? The favorite person. I mean, ekjoner kotha bolte chacchi. Right? Who is the favorite person in your family? And the reason I'm asking this question, I know you love them all, but the reason I'm asking this question is we're going to practice with that person. That's why. So you need to pick up. You need to single out one of them out of your family members. So who is the favorite person in your family? Give me the full sentence. My mother is my favorite person, or mother is my favorite person in my family. Give me the full answer, full sentence. Right? Give me the full sentence. Mother is my favorite person, or my mother is a favorite person in my family. Okay, okay, got it. Now, you know, this third person singular number, is, yes, does, speaks, learns. This makes a lot of trouble in speaking. যখন আমরা এই থার্ড পারসন সিঙ্গুলার নাম্বার দিয়ে কথা বলতে যাই, তখন এইগুলো আমাদেরকে অনেক ট্রাভেল মেক করে। Do you agree with me? Type in the chat box. অনেক সময় থার্ড পারসন সিঙ্গুলার নাম্বার সম্পর্কে কথা বলতে চাই, তখন কি হয়, আমরা এস বা ইএস যোগ করতে ভুলে যাই, ডাস ইউজ করতে ভুলে যাই। Do you agree with me? Type in the chat box. The answer should be, yes, I do. Answer should be, yes, I do, right? So do you agree with me? So when you start speaking about a favorite person or third person singular number, you make a lot of mistakes not adding s or yes, right? So do you agree with me? Type in the chat box. Yes, you do. I know. So now we got to do something about it, right? So if you make a lot of mistakes, we got to do something about it. And today, now, so all you need to do is you need to talk about the favorite person. So who is the favorite person in your family, and what does your favorite person do every day? And here is the thing, right? Here is the thing. So if your favorite person is your mother, you need to say, hi everyone, this is Habib. Today I would like to share with you who is my favorite person in my family and what does she do. My favorite person is my mother. She gets up. She gets up. She brushes her teeth. She makes breakfast. She takes a cup of tea. She takes bath. She arrives at office. She starts working. So what I'm doing? Just putting S or yes, right? S sound. That's the thing you got to make sure. আপনাকে কি মেক শিওর করতে হবে? S sound. Please type in the chat box. S sound. কি মেক শিওর করতে হবে আপনাকে? Type in the chat box. S sound. So ভার্বের সাথে সবসময় কি করতে হবে? S sound. So if you practice this, you will not make any mistakes in the long run, in near future. So all you got to do is you need to. Okay. So now I'm gonna give an example and I'm gonna read out some sentence. So, hi everyone, this is Habib. Today I'd like to share with you what does my favorite person do every day. My favorite person is my mother. She gets up early in the morning. She brushes her teeth. She makes breakfast. She takes a cup of tea after that, and she goes to office around 10 o'clock. And you know the way she goes is she takes a bus, and she after that she starts working. And around 1 o'clock she takes lunch and she takes rest for some time, and she starts working again. And she leaves office around 6 o'clock, and sometimes she goes to coffee shop to take a cup of coffee. And after that she takes bath. She returns home. She refreshes herself. She watches TV for some time, and sometimes she learns English, and that's why she attends this 10 days speaking challenge. And in the evening she gets together with us, and she makes some snacks. She delivers us. She helps. She cooks, and after that, I mean, around 9 o'clock, she takes dinner with us, and sometimes she read books as well. And then she sits with the family members and she takes a look on tomorrow's plan and she gets ready to go to bed and she sleeps. Did you get me? So all you got to do is you need to put a sound. So now, are you ready to talk about your favorite person? If you are ready, please type in the chat box ready. So favorite person সম্পর্কে কথা বলার জন্য রেডি হলে প্লিজ টাইপ ইন দ্য চ্যাট বক্স রেডি, READY। যেটা করতে হবে আপনাকে শুধু প্রতিটা ভার্বের সাথে এস যোগ করতে হবে, এস সাউন্ড যোগ করতে হবে। গেটস আপ, ব্রাশেস, মেক্স, টেক্স, starts working, takes lunch. So only thing just you need to remember this thing. So what I'm gonna do, I will give you the opportunity to start with me. I'm not unmuting yourself this time, right? So that you can understand. So we're gonna start. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start. What does your favorite person do every day? Yeah, start speaking. Hi everyone, my name is Habib, and today I'd like to share with you what does my favorite person do every day. My favorite person is my mom. She gets up early in the morning. Da da da. Keep going. Keep going. I'm gonna give you 1 minute. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. So I want you to make at least 30 sentences, 30 sentences about your favorite person. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Think about that. What does your favorite person do every day? Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So can you please type in the chat box, how many sentences have you made? Stop there. Type in the chat box, how many sentences have you made? Just put the number. So 25, 7, 8, 30, 10 plus, 25. Okay, excellent. Excellent. 15 plus. Okay, now we're gonna practice together. We will practice together. So what I'm gonna do, I'll unmute yourself and then you got to practice with me all together, right? So I think you are ready. Please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself fast. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
Hello, assalamu alaikum. I am Ashadana.
My name is Lakshay. My mother gets up early in the morning. She brushes her teeth. She makes breakfast.
And what my favorite person is my mother. She gets up
Also reads.
In the morning.
She makes breakfast. She have a cup of tea, and she get
Session herself. She goes to teeth. Sophie, she
starts working
and so
we start working, and then we have
her homework.
and returns home. As in the
she watches
As
me
for
at
our
the
studying. Then she lives.
then we
attend the
talks about
together the whole family in the
and she helps
helping party, the helping party
Then she attends English. Then she
family answer to get education.
it's ready to
then she helps.
she reads books, she sits with
dinner,
family
then she
members, she
reads.
eats local Thomas.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So now, I mean, when I ask you to do something and you study speaking, I feel like you have already learned the language, right? Sometimes I feel like that. আমার কাছে মনে হয় আপনারা অলরেডি ইংরেজি জানেন। Just you are here to validate yourself that you can speak English. So now I know. So you got to improve yourself and you need to reach in the next level. That's why you are here, and we're gonna do it together, right? So I'm gonna ask you a question. So did you make your presentation about your favorite person in your family? Type in the chat box. Did you make the presentation? Type in the chat box, because now you know how to ask and answer. Did you make your presentation Answer should be yes, I did. So যদি আমি past tense use করে question করি, আপনার answer should be in past tense. If I ask you question in present form, you should answer me in present form as well. So the question is did. Did you make your presentation? Your answer should be yes, I did. Okay, if I ask you a question, will you attend next class? Type in the chat box. Will you attend the next class? Type in the chat box. Answer should be yes, I will. Answer should be yes, I will, because I asked this question using future form. Jodi future form use kore question kori, apnar answer should be in future form. Yes, I will. Right? Okay, someone said it, no, I won't. That should be the right as well, answer as well. So apni jodi next class attend na koren, your answer should be no, I won't. Okay, now this is your homework. And do you know why I have selected this topic as your homework? Type in the chat box if you know the reason. Keno ami a favorite person eta homework hisebe select korechi? Please type in the chat box. Why? Why? Because you make a lot of mistakes while you are talking about the third person singular number, favorite person, right? And if you practice this 10 times, and I would say every day, at least once, you will not make any mistakes. Right? That's the only thing I have given this topic. Okay, Abdul Salam said this is extremely challenging. Yeah, that's right. So if you don't practice, you will make a lot of mistakes. And now, type in the chat box, who would like to develop your fluency? Who would like to develop fluency? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see. If that's you, please type in the chat box me. KK fluency develop korte chan. Type in the chat box. I'm gonna give you medicine to improve your fluency right now. Who is ready? Woohoo! Excited. So now I'd like to give you the medicine to improve your fluency. Right? So if you'd like to improve your fluency, you got to take 4 drugs. How many? Type in the chat box. How many? Type in the chat box. Only 4 drugs every single day. And if you take it for 30 days, you will be cured. Your fluency will be in another level. Did you get me? Only 4. The first one is, what do you do every day? What do you do every day? Type in the chat box. What's the first one? What's the first medicine? What do you do every day? You got to practice it every single day until you get your fluency. What do you do every day? Right? That's the first thing. Second thing, what does your favorite person do every day? What's the second thing? Type in the chat box, please. Quickly. You got to be active, right? You got to be player. So what does your favorite person do every day? Every single day you got to practice it. What does your favorite person do every day? What does your favorite person do every day? Right? So I have given you 2 medicine. You should take it every single day as a prescription, right? Now, I'd like to go back to my story. Can you still remember? So if you'd like to be a successful person, how many steps you have to follow? Type in the chat box. How many steps you have to follow? 3. What's the first one? Yep, that's right. The first one is run. What's the second one? What's the second one? Identify yourself, who you want to become. Right? So identify yourself. What's the third one? What's the third one? Model him. Right? Model him. So these are the 3 steps if you'd like to become a successful person in your life. Try it for several months, you'll get the result. You know, sometimes I'm really blessed to see you here. I think 2 months ago, I went to, you know, in this country, now the weather is so bad, is most of the time is cloudy, rainy. So if you'd like to do some sort of physical exercise, you got to go to indoor stadium, something like this, right? So I live in Harlow, and there is a place is called Old Harlow. So I used to go there for playing badminton. And one day, so I was playing badminton with someone else, and he was sometimes staring at me, right? So, and you know, when it happens, you feel some sort of uncomfortable. যখন আপনার দিকে কেউ মানে আর চোখে তাকিয়ে তাকিয়ে দেখে, আপনি একটু uncomfortable feel করেন, right? So we played badminton, I think 2-3 games. Then he came to me. He said, "What's your name? Is it Hassan Habib?" I said, "Yes, that's my name." He said, "Look, I'm really shocked. I attended your class, and that was, I think, best 1 or 2. So this is the best number 10 we are delivering. And I was struggling a lot to learn English from here and there. And I attended all your classes. I built my foundation. Then I did my IELTS, and now I'm in the UK. And thank you so much for helping me out." And you know, I was a bit shy as well. So if someone praise you in front of you, you feel some sort of shy. আপনাকে যদি সরাসরি কেউ প্রশংসা করে, আপনি একটু আনইজি লাগে, একটু shy feel করেন। I said, no, never mention it. Thank you for acknowledging that. So the world is, you know, is like a global village. I don't know. Probably next year, probably I can see you in my London office or Birmingham or Manchester office, right? So why I'm saying this is a lot of students, they got benefit out of this course. If you just follow the instruction, if you do it right away, you have done it, right? You don't have to struggle a lot. So all you got to do is you got to give this presentation in tomorrow's class. So who is going to submit homework? Type in the chat box homework. I'd like to see. Kara next class homework. Okay, so I can see here is 58 people. That means we are about to end the class and you are still here. That means you are not shutting down your business, right? According to Jack Ma. So you have promised to yourself, you have committed to yourself that you're going to learn English whatever it takes. And I'd like to give a shout to the people who are practicing in the Facebook group as well. So yeah, find out a good friend. I mean, you can practice with. How many of you got a friend to practice English inside the Facebook group? Type in the chat box, me. আমি একটু দেখতে চাই কারা কারা ফেসবুক গ্রুপে আপনার প্র্যাকটিস করার মতো একজন লোক খুঁজে পেয়েছেন। টাইপ ইন দ্য চ্যাট বক্স মি। A lot of people are saying me, right? So yeah, I didn't find. So Mohammed Farid, if you didn't find it, all you got to do is you need to submit your homework. You got to watch other videos. You got to comment positive things. And then send a private message. Hey, I've seen your presentation is really good. Can I practice with you, please? For 15 minutes or 30 minutes daily. And the person will say yes, right? আপনাদেরকে আমি শিখিয়ে দিয়েছি কিভাবে ফেসবুক গ্রুপে আপনি আপনার স্পিকিং পার্টনার খুঁজে পাবেন। Don't give a post. Hey, I'm looking for a speaking partner. And 10 people jumped in and you never replied, right? Don't do that. So যেটা করতে হবে, আপনি ফেসবুকে আপনার হোমওয়ার্ক পোস্ট করেন, আরো 10 জনের হোমওয়ার্ক আপনি দেখেন, কমেন্ট করেন, পজিটিভ কমেন্ট। And yeah, thank you so much for passing a lot of positive comment in the group as well. So you are inspiring each other, right? You got to inspire and you got to motivate. So by doing that, you are doing this, right? So আপনাকে কি করতে হবে? পজিটিভ কমেন্ট করতে হবে। সো আপনি যখন পজিটিভ কমেন্ট করেন, সে আপনাকে রিপ্লাই দেয়। সো আপনি যখন বলেন যে your presentation is awesome and the person come back to you and replying, thank you so much, thanks for inspiring me, thanks for your kind word, right? So then you can send a private message saying, if you don't mind, can I practice with you, please? I see your presentation, you're serious, you're committed. I think if you practice, we can improve together. And the person will say yes. Did you get me? How to get a friend for practicing English? Type in the chat box. If you really understood what I just said, please type in the chat box understood. Right? So this is how you got to find a friend to practice English. Step 1, homework submit করতে হবে, প্রচুর প্র্যাকটিস করতে হবে। Step 2, পজিটিভ কমেন্ট করতে হবে। Step 3, প্রাইভেট মেসেজ করতে হবে যে আমি কি আপনার সাথে প্র্যাকটিস করতে পারি, আমি দেখছি যে আপনার প্রেজেন্টেশন খুবই ভালো, আপনি নিয়মিত, কমিটেড, সিরিয়াস, and the person will say of course. Right? So now what I'm gonna do, I'll just show you the homework page so that you can understand. So this is the homework. What does your favorite person do every day? Right? So all you got to do is you need to tell 30 actions, 30 activities, and you need to practice 10 times, and you need to upload your video in IELTS and study in the UK, US, and Canada. Right? And just practice the structure as well. And one more thing is, you know, if you'd like to learn a lot of vocabularies, I would recommend you to what is called pick up different people. So first of all, you start with mother. So my favorite person is my mother, da 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 da. Number 1. Number 2 is pick up your father. My favorite person is my dad, and he gets up, da 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 da. Right? Then you speak about your brother. My favorite person is my brother, da 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 da. Then my favorite person is my sister. Right? Talk about your sister. And then my favorite person is my teacher, da 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 da. My favorite person is my model. So whom you know already, whom you want to become. Apni ke hote chan, right? So already I think you have done some sort of research. Apni tar সম্পর্কে research করে ফেলছেন. You know a lot of things about the person. Talk about that person. Right? So my favorite person is my mentor, da 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 da. Right? So talk about. So this is how you can speak world long. Right? So now I'm so sorry I forgot to give you the opportunity in the last class to ask a question. So please ask questions. If you have got any questions, please ask right now. So আপনি যদি কোনো question থাকে, please type in the chat box. And now I need to take your feedback. So we have gone through 3 classes. So how did you find this 10 days speaking challenge? Is it outstanding? So if you think it's 10 out of 10, it's outstanding. Type in the chat box outstanding. If you think it's 7 out of 10, type in the chat box excellent. If you think it's 5 plus out of 10, please type in the chat box okay. I'd like to see your feedback, right? Because you have committed to yourself, you paid the price with your time and effort, and I'd like to make sure that I'm delivering value. Okay, got it? Got it? Yeah, type in the chat box. Type in the chat box. Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for responding. And now I'm gonna okay, so before finishing this class, what's gonna happen tomorrow is you will be able to interrogate someone. আপনারা ইন্ট্রোগেশন সেল এটা শুনেছেন কিনা, প্লিজ টাইপ ইন দ্য চ্যাট বক্স। যখন পুলিশে কাউকে ধরে নিয়ে যায়, তাকে কি করে? ইন্ট্রোগেট করে, অর্থাৎ আস্কিং লট অফ কোশ্চেন্স, ডিপ কোশ্চেন্স, রাইট? সো টুমরো উই উইল লার্ন হাউ টু আস্ক ডিপ কোশ্চেন্স। আগামীকাল আমরা কি শিখবো? ডিপ কোশ্চেন। প্লিজ টাইপ ইন দ্য চ্যাট বক্স ডিপ কোশ্চেন্স, deep questions, right? So if you join tomorrow's class, you will be able to interrogate someone in English. পুলিশের মতো, পুলিশ যেরকম আসামিকে ধরে কোশ্চেন করে, আপনি অ্যাভেল হবেন সেই রকম কোশ্চেন করতে ইংলিশে if you attend tomorrow's class. So what do you think? Tomorrow's class is important, very important, or must? Type in the chat box. So tomorrow's class is gonna be important or very important or must. Type in the chat box. right? So this is also important thing is, you know, sometimes you say, I should do this, I should do that, should, right? So you need to make your should into must. And once you schedule yourself, you have done it. আপনি যখন কোনো কাজ schedule করে ফেলেন, that means you have done half of the work. So I can see the sun outside. I'm gonna sign out here, and I got to run, right? I got to run. That's what I said. What I practice, that's what I preach. যেটা আমি প্র্যাকটিস করি সেটাই আপনাদেরকে শেখাই, right? So let's recap in a minute. So we have gone through so many stories. Alibaba. So first day, second day happened, second and half day. Most of the business owners, they gone, but you are still here. That means you have committed to yourself, right? You're gonna survive and thrive. That's the first thing. Second thing is you got to pay the price. You already paid the price, right? You have already paid the price. You have paid what is called the price for MB for your mobile phone to connect through internet. You have given your time, that's the price, and you are practicing a lot, that's the price as well. So you are putting your money, effort, and time. That means you have committed to yourself, right? And the next thing we have learned, so if you'd like to become a successful person in your life, so you got to follow 3 steps. Number 1 is run, number 2 is identify who you want to become, and number 3 is just model him, ask for help, like my mentor, right? So I found him, I went to him, I asked a lot of questions, and I asked for help. I said, I'd like to build at university in the long run, so please help me how I can do that. And he said yes. Probably not the first time, second time, third time, but in the long run he said yes, right? And also you have learned in the lesson is how to ask questions. So do means kora, but interrogative and negative sentences, we need it, but it doesn't have any meaning. So that was all about today's class. So see you tomorrow. Make sure you submit your homework. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.